Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Fussell. This is Business 101. Today we're going to be going over cash and cash flow. This is for GCSE AQA. So the management of cash and cash flow is important as it can prevent a business from failing. Cash flow is the way that money moves in and out of a business and its bank accounts. Cash doesn't just mean the physical money a business has in notes and coins. It also refers to cash in the bank. In other words, money that is available in the business's bank accounts. The management of cash is very important, as cash allows a business to pay its bills. The main cash payments a business makes include payments to suppliers, payments to employees, and overheads such as rent, electricity, and telephone bills. When a business has just a few large customers and they fail to pay on time, the business's cash flow position is badly affected because the business does not have money it was expecting to have. This can lead to the business having financial difficulties and even failing. A business can arrange credit terms with its suppliers in order to pay for raw materials or stock at a later date. Credit arrangements can also allow customers to pay for products or services within 30, 60, or 90 days. If a business allows its customers credit terms, it is a sensible option to also negotiate longer credit terms with its suppliers. Failing to manage cash and cash flow can cause business failure. Even if a business has many customers, it can still have negative cash flow. There are two instances when a business can suffer cash flow problems. At startup, when large amounts of money need to be invested to get the business started, for example, to pay for equipment, initial stock, rent, insurance, hiring, training, and staff costs. And during rapid growth, when the business needs to grow quickly but cannot keep up with the cash being paid out. For example, if the business needs to find larger premises and invest in making them ready to move into. If a business has customers who are not paying what they owe, this means that the business may be unable to pay its own bills and may become insolvent. Businesses need positive cash flow to reduce the risk of failure and insolvency. Three possible steps to get out of a negative cash flow are to negotiate an overdraft facility, to keep costs under control, and to keep cash coming into the business by arranging sensible credit arrangements with suppliers and customers, and having fewer customers who pay for products and services on credit. Not all cash paid into a business is profit. A business must pay its costs from the money that comes into it. Once all costs have been deducted from all revenue, the amount that is left is the business's profit. Profit is usually calculated on an annual basis. However, calculating it monthly can help a business by showing that it is solvent and indicating whether it will be able to achieve its profit targets. Cash flow is the movement of money in and out of a business over a period of time. Cash flow forecasting involves predicting the future flow of cash in and out of a business's bank accounts. A cash flow forecast will usually be for a 12-month period. Forecasting cash inflows and outflows is important, especially for three types of business: new businesses, fast-growing businesses, and businesses with unpredictable sales patterns, for example, seasonal businesses such as ice cream vans only operating really in the summer. A cash flow forecast allows a business to plan for the future. It can therefore assist the business in making important decisions, such as employing more staff, opening a new branch, investing in a new business, and rewarding the owners for their success. Cash flow forecasting can also help a business to identify the risks of negative cash flow. Creating a cash flow forecast for a new business can be difficult, as the business will have no previous figures to help it estimate its future cash inflows and outflows. This will require the entrepreneur to make some guesses. This will also need to monitor the business's cash flow carefully to see whether their estimates were realistic and make changes if they were not. An established business can compare its actual cash flow with its cash flow forecast to monitor whether it is achieving its targets. It can then make changes if necessary. Calculating cash flow involves finding or estimating figures for the following. Cash inflows, so this is all of the money coming into the business, which can be separated into different categories. For example, sales, rent received, and loans. And also then we have cash outflows. This is all of the money moving out of the business to pay for its costs. For example, suppliers, employees, and overheads such as rent, electricity, etc. Net cash flow is the difference between all cash inflows and all cash outflows of a business. As a formula, this would look like net cash flow equals cash inflows minus cash outflows. If you look on the screen, we can see an example of a cash flow forecast. So we can see we have January, February, and March. At the top of this table, we have our cash inflows, which are our sales and our rent received. We then have a totaling box underneath that is for total inflows. And if you look at the figures, that is £9,500, which is the total of the £8,500 from sales and the £1,000 from rent received. If we then go down a bit, we can see cash outflows. These are wages, raw materials, marketing, rent, and loan repayment. If we add up all these figures, we get our total outflows, which total up to £3,850 for January. Below that, we have our net cash flow. Now, this is the total inflows minus the total outflows. So we take the £9,500 and deduct £3,850 from that, and we are left with our net cash flow of £5,650. Underneath that, we have our opening balance for the month. So in this example, this business has no prior cash from previous months. We're going to say January is the first month they've been open, so they have an opening balance of £0. However, they have a closing balance at the end of the month of £5,650, the same as the net cash flow, because there's nothing to balance it against from the opening balance. If we now go to February, we can see that the opening balance for February is the same as the closing balance for January. And then again, the opening balance for March is the same as the closing balance for February. This will always be the case in your cash flow forecast. The closing balance of the previous month will be the opening balance of the new month. The opening balance is the amount of money a business starts with at the beginning of the reporting period, usually the first day of the month. So opening balance equals closing balance of the previous period. If there is no previous period, like in our prior example, then the opening balance will be 0. So, for example, a closing balance for January equals £5,650, and therefore the opening balance for February is £5,650. The closing balance is the amount of money the business has at the end of the reporting period, usually the last day of the month. So again, closing balance equals net cash flow plus opening balance. For example, net cash flow equals £2,550, an opening balance of £5,650. This would mean we would add those two together to get £8,200, and therefore a closing balance of £8,200. And that's today's lesson over, everybody. I hope everybody learned something from today's lesson. Now remember to like the video, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel for more revision lessons in the future. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Goodbye.